Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana, and we're here today with special guest, Granddaughter Crow, who's here to share with us her book, Belief, Being, and Beyond, Your Journey to Questioning Ideas, Deconstructing Concepts, and Healing from Harmful Belief Systems. So are your negative beliefs holding you back in life? Well, today's guest is here to share with us how to overcome just that. So Granddaughter Crow, also known as Dr. Joy Gray, holds a doctorate in leadership. Internationally recognized as a medicine woman, she comes from a long line of spiritual leaders as a member of the Navajo Nation. She's an international award-winning author, and her books are The Journey of the Soul, Wisdom of the Natural World, and Belief, Being, and Beyond. Additionally, she's a member of the Delta Mu Delta Honor International Society in Business due to her academic achievements, and was voted in as Woman of the Year in 2015 by the National Association of Professional Women. Granddaughter Crow is noted as being a conduit for wisdom and transformation between the Western and Native worlds, and has dedicated her life to inspiring, encouraging, and empowering individuals to their authenticity. So welcome to the show, Granddaughter Crow.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so excited to be a part of your show and to speak with your listeners, to create an environment where everybody feels the love. So thank you for having me.
Well, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk about this book. What inspired you to write this?
Gosh. So Belief, Being, and Beyond is a book about, questioning ideas, healing from harmful belief systems. And so what inspired me was basically when I look around at the world, including my own personal experiences, a lot of times we get deluded by certain belief systems, not just religiously, but, how we move in the world or who we are. And I think from a time and time again, we need to examine what it is that we believe about ourselves, where we're going, who we are, our relationships, re-examine it to make sure that we are living the most honest, purpose-felt, pure life. So I would say that basically in this book, really quick story. I went to college, my first night in college, when I was an adult, they asked the question as an icebreaker, if you were to write a book, what would the title be? So that we could all kind of get to know each other. And so what happened was we went around the room and people were taking time writing down things. And this was over 20 years ago. And when they started out going around the room, and this first guy says, oh, I want to write a book about how to ski down a slope. And another lady said, oh, I want to write a book about the best homemade oatmeal cookies. And I thought to myself for a brief second as I looked down at what I wrote, and I was like, oh no, I did the assignment wrong. I went too deep, I went too conscious. And they got to me. And in that moment, it took a lot of courage for me just to be myself and not change my answer. And I said, belief, being, and beyond. And there was an awkward silence in the room. And the wonderful professor looks at me and says, why? What is that book about? And I said, well, our belief system about the world around us and who we are is one of the most strongest, powerful experiences. I mean, people go to war based on belief systems. And I said, it constitutes how we behave in the world, our beingness. But if we could recognize that there's always more to learn, there's always a bigger, wider place to go consciously, then we will be a little bit more flexible within our mind and how we see ourselves in the world around us. So that's basically what inspired it.
Well, I love how your book title was the one that made the professor go, why? Why that book? And you touch on a topic that's so important is our belief system. And there is so much there to unpack that we carry around with us. And most of the time, people have no idea that that's what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of times, we adopt a belief system based on the way that we were raised, what area, what culture, the positioning within the world, some religious beliefs, and all of this. And so it's almost like we're handed this thing and we're like, okay, then once we go around and start questioning, wait a second, why do I believe that? Is that true to my authenticity? And then we can shift it and change it. Another huge thing within this book is it kind of helps us to everybody at one point in their life, for whatever reason, I have observed, feels like the outcast or quote unquote the other. And usually that outcast and the other is based on the core group's belief system. They are outcast because they are not behaving in a certain way. Their expectations are different. They're not showing up. And so this book is to kind of reach out to those outcasts or the outcast within each of our experiences and go, wait a second, but I was authentic to myself. And it's just a really powerful experience to go, I get to be who I am. And that's really the essence of what I bring to the world is I'm here to inspire, to encourage, and to empower you to be your authenticity. And if I can do that through a book, through a class, through a session, through a beautiful podcast, that's what I'm here to do.
It seems that authenticity is such a hot topic, but a lot of people don't know even how to navigate to get there. A lot of times we're so, bound by beliefs that our parents had or things that we've picked up along the way.
Absolutely. So I would say what I would say is how to begin your road to authenticity is to be curious. Curiosity is what I believe is our internal compass that was given to us to help us navigate towards our authentic self. So when you start going, I'm curious about learning about stones, I'm curious about learning about astrology, I'm curious about learning XYZ. That's a road that take those nudges and begin to experience that. And a lot of people say, well, curiosity killed the cat. But the true statement is curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. So it's like follow through with your curiosity because I believe it's there to lead you home to your authenticity and your authentic self, which is what the creator created you to be. No one can be you as great as you can be. So be your greatness.
In your book, your chapters are representing different times within a day. Why is that?
Yeah, excellent question. So, a lot of times when we talk about spiritual topics or belief systems, we kind of go out into the galaxy, into the universe. It's something that isn't necessarily embodied, right? So when I talk about the different times of the day, that's when we can actually embody the wisdom. So, for example, there's a chapter on the morning. The morning is a time when most of us wake up and we stretch and we start planning our day. That to me is the embodiment of what it feels like to have a spiritual awakening. You're waking up, you're kind of excited, you're planning your day, and then it goes to noontime, which is basically this experience of the sun is at its highest peak and we feel warm, everything is in the light. And that is the embodiment of this feeling of feeling enlightened, right? And enlightenment for me comes and goes and comes and goes. I'm like, oh, I feel enlightened. Oh, no, I don't anymore. It's one of those things. And then in the evening, This is where we kind of relax a little bit. We did our work. We put our, we put our feet up. We enjoy the sunset. That is a sensation, embodied sensation of our beingness, where you feel like this is where I am and I did it, and so on and so forth. So I do the times of day and compare them to the different feelings of enlightenment and awakening and being and becoming and beyond, just so that we can gain a physical, embodied sense of what that means.
There's so much I want to unpack there.
Yeah.
Um, but before I do, I think it would be probably best if we talk about, um, in your book you share about the different concepts of the four bodies, and I'd love for you to share on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when, there's different schools of thoughts, different models that we can approach spirituality and our belief system, one of which is this perspective that we have four bodies of existence. And in that four bodies of existence, that would be your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, your spiritual body. And each of these existence, when you refer to them as a body, then you realize I need spiritual food, I need spiritual exercise, I need spiritual rest, and you begin to kind of treat each one of these with a lot more respect and in depth, right? And so and they each have their own wisdom. My physical body has certain wisdom. It's here to help me live, survive, thrive, all of that. My emotional body is here to kind of radiate love and to connect with other people and things in the natural world. The mental body is such a beautiful thing because that's where we get to kind of logically do things and also have inspiration and see connections and visualize. And then the spiritual body is something that just knows and it guides us. And so with the four bodies of existence, I literally could talk a whole probably days on that alone. But if you think about it, you have a physical body that needs food and exercise and rest. You have an emotional body. Feed your emotional body, let it feel the gratitude, let it feel the love, etc. Mental body needs stimulation. And that stimulation can come through books or this beautiful podcast. And then the spiritual body needs food as well. So it's just fascinating to shift a perspective. Instead of thinking, I am a spirit, I have a body, I have a mind, and I have emotions. That I believe is true. But when you kind of expand it or shift it a little bit more to say these are bodies of existence, then they become your counsel to help you move and thrive within the world.
Well, on that note, we're going to pause here for a quick break. We've been speaking with Granddaughter Crow in regards to her book, Belief, Being, and Beyond. You've been listening to Moments with Mary Ann. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Are you an author, speaker, or expert who is looking for more publicity? Visit radioguestlist.com and sign up for free interview requests from shows looking for guests. Radio Guest List is the #1 free booking resource for radio, podcasts, and TV talk shows who are looking for experts like you right now. Visit radioguestlist.com and sign up today to get the visibility you deserve.
There comes a moment when you realize you're somewhere special. When you discover that each beautiful creature that you see has been rescued from a life of absolute horror and brought to this incredibly free place. Here's where their lives were forever changed and where yours will as well. Discover over 500 tigers, bears, and lions at the brand new visitor center at the Wild Animal Sanctuary just outside Denver. For more information, visit wildanimalsanctuary.org. Discover true freedom at the Wild Animal Sanctuary.
It's one thing to become attached to your perfect home, but what do you do when that home becomes attached to you? A family in dire need of a fresh start, a mysterious house tied to the past. Buried deep within the foundation of the old Far Hill Manor lies a centuries-old secret. Dark forces or something stronger just waiting to be discovered. Caretaker, a supernatural thriller by breakout authors R.J. Halpert.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
I'd like to thank Jason Eastwood at Guitarfulness for sharing his inspiring music and talent with us. His music is known worldwide for cultivating atmospheres of harmony, inner peace, and clarity. Visit Jason's website at guitarfulness.com. Join his newsletter, be part of his community, and download his music. Welcome back to Moments with Mary Ann. We're here today with special guest, Granddaughter Crow, in regards to her book, Belief, Being, and Beyond, Your Journey to Questioning Ideas, Deconstructing Concepts, and Healing from Harmful Belief Systems. When you talk about awakening, can you give us an example of what that looks like?
Absolutely. So if you think about your physical body, like I just said, it wakes up in the morning for the most part. I know there's night owls and that type of thing, but as it wakes up, it kind of stretches, and some of us pop out of bed and we're like, let's hit the day. And some of us are like, give me a cup of coffee and an hour. I'm trying to wake up. So everybody has a different experience. And so it is with the emotional body. When it awakens, maybe to love or to feeling that connection or to feeling that forgiveness or whatever it is, it responds differently within us, just like the physical world. And again, with the mental body, sometimes it's like, Eureka, I got it. And sometimes it's like, wait, let me wrap my mind around this concept before I awaken. And the same with the spiritual body. Some of us are like, I'm a light switch and I just turned on it and I get it. I feel great about my spirit. And some of us, it takes a little bit more time. So that's kind of what I have to say about the four bodies of existence and how they awaken differently and they get enlightenment differently and their beingness is different, not to be good or bad, but to be authentic.
Is it possible for you to share the Navajo creation story with us?
Sure. So in this book, I do talk about different comparative religions, like what does the creation story look like within the Christian and Catholic story? And what does it look like within the Navajo Nation? Because I'm Navajo. And what does it look like from other perspectives so that we can kind of see that there's more similarities than there are differences? So before I share about the Navajo creation story, I must explain that the Navajo language is probably written less than 200 years. It's not it's an oral culture. And then we started writing about it around 200 years ago. The Navajo language found its written word. So when you ask a Navajo about a concept, there probably will be a couple of different things that are different. The truth holds true, but that I believe is because the Navajos passing down information from as an oral culture. Sometimes the little nuances change, but basically what it is that first man and first woman came up and they rose through different levels of what we call worlds. They first came from this world and went into the next world. And in that world, they learned and gained and grew. And then they moved up the mountain and went into the next world. In that world, they learned and gained and grew. And that we keep rising to different existences. And so the best way I could explain it is, a lot of times we're talking about oh, we're headed to a new world. And that's how the Navajo would see it. If you ask a Navajo, some would say that we are in the fourth world right now. Some would say that we are in the fifth world. And I find it really interesting because I think of it as we are in the fourth world with four bodies of existence, four directions, north, south, east, and west, four times a day, morning, noon, evening, and night, four seasons. So everything, when you look at the pattern of four, it's really kind of beautiful and really here in this fourth type of looking, that fourth world.
And so, are there like prompts or is there information that readers can use to obtain, let's say, like enlightenment?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for bringing that up. What I would say is if you have a book club or you're going to buy this book on your own, show up with a journal because at the end of each chapter, there are journal prompts to help you, to inspire you, to encourage you, to kind of wake you up a little bit by answering these questions, these journal prompts in your authentic way will lead to your authentic awakening. Then at the end of the, enlightenment chapter, there's more questions for you to get to know yourself. So in a way, it's kind of a workbook. And I also want to say, I am not here to tell you who and what you should do or behave or believe in. I'm here to encourage you to find that for yourself.
Well, that's just beautiful. I've heard quite a few people talk about, well, I am on the path of enlightenment and I'm on the path and maybe feeling discouraged, like they've never arrived. And it felt like with your book, it really kind of gives people a way to get to that place.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because when with being on the path, quote unquote, on the path, somebody asked me years ago, you keep saying on the path, Granddaughter Crow. What does that mean? And I said, well, it's when all of your four bodies of existence are in line with each other, find an alignment. So, for example, I have had an experience where my physical body is going to a 9 to 5 job, which my heart and my emotions and my mind really wasn't into, and my spirit wasn't into. It was just to pay the bills. So when I get there, my mind is off, my mental body is off, thinking about going to vacation, and my emotional body's wishing that I could, do other things. And so they're all in separate places. So when you talk with each of your four bodies and you recognize them and give them a voice, then all of a sudden you can say, okay, my physical body wants to be here now. I want to be on this show with you now. My emotional body is like, I want to be on this show with you now. My mental body is all about, what are we going to discuss? Bless the people. My spiritual body is here now. So in this moment, I have aligned and I am here with you now. And in that moment, in this moment, I am on my path. So how do we continue to move forward? We realize that we are ever unfolding, that our beingness is here now. Don't get ahead of yourself. Get excited about tomorrow, of course, but ever unfold like a lotus. Keep getting to know yourself. I have not arrived anywhere except for here and now. And tomorrow I will be in the here and now again, but it might look a little different. So don't get discouraged. Be here now. This is your position of enlightenment today. It will change, it will develop, it will grow. So keep going.
Thank you. I love that. So you talk about being. So what does being look like?
Yeah, an excellent question. It's one of those esoteric questions that, different minds would be able to talk about in different ways. But I would say that being, for me, from this perspective, is the feeling of what I'm feeling right now, what my behavior is right now, who I am right now. It is a settled place of the now, right? Instead of who I was or who I'm becoming. It's this who I am right now. And opening your heart and your mind to understanding that it is a beautiful place to be, even if it's uncomfortable. That's okay. It is an experience. So be here now, mindful, and then you can look at yourself and examine the world and change things that you wish to, or compliment yourself and love yourself. And that's what I see beingness. It's mindfulness. It's the existence of who I am in this very moment.
So our listeners, they purchase this amazing book and they start working through it and working through the different prompts that you have, journal prompts and other prompts, and they start asking these questions. They get their answer. What do they do next?
I love that question because it is a very grounded question. So once you read the book and then answer the questions, answer them. There's like questions that ask you about physically and emotionally and mentally and spiritually, and you begin to self-discover. Then what you do is you behave as who you are, not who they tell you that they need you to be. You start giving yourself permission to slowly but surely wear your favorite color, do your hair in the way that you want to do your hair, eat the food that you want. It's about self-expression with those little day-to-day things. I am passionate about this book because there was a time in my life that I was there for whatever they asked me to be, And now, then what I started doing was like, but I don't want that haircut. I want to grow my hair out and I want to wear braids. And so I did. And it started empowering me because as I walked through my day, I was like, I am self-expressing. This feels really cool. I feel like I have a little, edge. And then you start wearing the clothes that you want. So you just kind of day to day be there for yourself based on what you find that you have self-discovered within the book.
There's so much great information within this book. It's such a great resource. You talk about becoming in life. And I think for a lot of people, they may go, well, I maybe I don't think I've arrived because I don't have the $1 million house or the cars or the bank account, whatever that thing is. So what does becoming in life mean?
I love that question. So as we kind of reflect on what we were saying, that awakening feels like the morning, enlightenment feels like the noontime, and being feels like the evening when you've completed all of your tasks and you're relaxing, you just are. Then becoming would be the nighttime, where you are resting, where you are digesting everything that had happened, your life. You're just taking a little bit of time off, and then you might be like, oh, I think that I want to approach this situation like this, or you are rejuvenating yourself to go beyond, which is the next day. So becoming is not necessarily a lot of work. It's more of a digesting of self and resting and reflecting. That's kind of how I see it.
So as we move into beyond, what does that mean for us? What does that look like?
Excellent question. I would have to say that curiosity again will help us get beyond. I don't know the beyond because I'm not there yet, right? I am still being and becoming. And so beyond is when we recognize that we all have blind spots. Literally, in the physical realm, we have blind spots, and emotionally, we may have blind spots. Mentally, we have blind spots, and spiritually, we have blind spots. And blind spots aren't good or bad. They just need to be recognized that we all have them. And so as we are being and becoming, we start recognizing these blind spots and expanding our consciousness. I say that I absolutely have blind spots, and I seek to understand what is truly there. And when I get those, that takes me beyond what I was before I understood what the blind spot was. I think the most dangerous thing is when an individual doesn't think they have blind spots, but they do have blind spots, because it's like, uh-oh, you stopped learning. You closed your mind, So recognizing that we have blind spots, accepting it, and feeling comfortable and okay with that. And I really throw it down in the book from a scientific perspective. So, and then filling in those blind spots with more truth is the beyond for me.
I don't think we ever stop learning. That would just be a not a good place to be in.
Yeah. I agree completely. You stop learning, you stop growing. But see, I'm just a curious. The truth is that yes, I am Granddaughter Crow. Yes, I have a doctorate in leadership. Yes, I have written books. And those are, titles. To me, my soul, if it be born 500 years ago on the other side of the planet, what would be the similar traits within my soul? And I would say a curious student that loves to share. So that is my truth. That is my essence. And how that comes out in the world is through authorship and through teaching, and the curiosity took me through school. And so it's that essence that we have. And so I completely agree with you that I don't ever think I will stop being curious. And I hope that everybody listening taps into their curiosity a little bit more and then takes action on what it is they're curious about, learning something new.
Such great advice. Well, Granddaughter Crow, where can our listeners connect with you, learn more about Belief, Being, and Beyond, and be part of your community?
Oh, I love it. I would love to have each of you join. I would love to join your communities as well. So you can find me at www.granddaughtercrow.com, where you will see my classes that I teach, online classes, and there is one-on-one sessions available, and all of my books. Of course, if you walk into any bookstore, you can ask them, hey, do you have a copy of Belief, Being, and Beyond by Granddaughter Crow? If they don't have it on the shelf, they can order it for you.
And we want to support our indie bookstores, of course. So, well, Granddaughter Crow, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
It's my honor and my pleasure. I just want to say, follow your curiosity. I believe in you, even if you don't believe in yourself.
Well, thank you, Granddaughter Crow. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your book, Belief, Being, and Beyond, your journey to questioning ideas, deconstructing concepts, and healing from harmful belief systems. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Mary Ann, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Mary Ann is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Mary Ann will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmaryann.com for more information.